Fiends. When I was broke, I met the plug, call it perfect timing. Bad situations turn good, must be my silver lining. They love to hate, they see us trappy and they can't deny it. Big foreign whips cutting through, we do up hella mileage. I can teach you about that trap shit, show you how to mash bricks. Cut a chase on blue lights, I'm hitting down in back strips. I can never fall off, cause way before this rap shit, I was getting busy.
We never do intros on this channel. Go on, Hilly, let's start.
Alright, so topic, I thought I would just, something I was going to do for IGTV, but I thought I would do it here, is just the importance of peak week trials. Seeing as we're bang in the middle of the competitive season, I've had clients compete back to back. So client that I had competed the weekend, Seb, he came second in Poland in men's physique. The week before, he came fourth in the Amateur Olympia, which we discussed a bit and was absolutely rammed. There is 2 first international shows abroad. So in terms of results for UK athlete and whatnot, he's pretty much fucking smashing it. So what I like to do with clients, and what I've done with both Riz and Deck, and I think they are one of the most vital things you can do in prep, is run peak week trials, which we've touched on before. And basically all you're doing is you are creating a show day environment, you're practicing your running. Now, obviously, you need to be ahead of the game. Well, not ahead of the game. You should be, in my opinion, everybody should be ready a couple of weeks out anyway. I think I've touched on this before. I'm a big believer on being lean early. You can see one of my clients, Charlie, who has been more or less thereabouts from 4 weeks out.
Really
I'm a believer that if you are, especially for your first couple of shows, if you are super lean early, it forces the body to use those last little bits of fat under the skin. And I do believe that, and this is why people get leaner the more shows they do, is that every time you get a bit further down, you dip into these fat reserves, this layer of fat under your skin is my bro science theory. But another way of doing that, and I learned this from myself, my first show, the guy literally killed me, absolutely killed me. But I was ready early, and I had that thin skin look that you don't usually see with people for my first show, but that's because I ate muscle and overdid it, but it's one of the best things I could have done actually. So you need to be ready early. And then what I like to do is, for most people it would be a Sunday because, you know, they work during the week. So we will literally say Sunday is show day. So depending on how they've responded to high carb days during the prep, how I feel they are going to run the peak. So are we going to do a high day and a dry out the day before? Are we going to do a 2-day run with a day, you know, so load Thursday, Friday, pull back the Friday and drop water, and we're going to load early. We will literally create a show day environment and then run it as if they're competing on the Sunday. So we'll say, right, when do we think you were going to be on stage? So for Seb last week, he was on stage at 5 o'clock. So we had to create an environment that would allow him to look his best at 5 o'clock. For the Alicante show, the show time was 12 o'clock. So when we were running the peaks for that, we had to create an environment where he was going to compete at 12 o'clock. So you literally mimic this. So we would say, right, we're going to try. So what we did for the first one is, right, we're going to do a high day Wednesday. We're going to see how you look Thursday. And we're going to load for 2 days. Then we're going to do a dry out day. Because he was ready so early.
Did you use diuretic when doing the load?
So not during the load the first time, but the second mock we did. And again, he was ready 4 weeks out. So we actually managed to do trials 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out. Because, and Scott Stevenson taught me this, actually doing these trials almost allows for a boost in fat loss, where you're loading and drying out. And you do see it, and I've seen it with Riz, with Deck, with Seb at the weekend, last weekend. It almost allows this huge metabolic boost, and you see. So it's aiding in fat loss anyway, as long as you're lean enough. So we did a 2-day load, we did a 1-day load, and then tried to see how full he can get because of his genetics. This was 3 weeks ago, this. We started on Tuesday, and he literally did Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we kept going. And he actually got no better over 3 days, no matter how much food it. All that happened was his midsection got a little bit thicker because it's men's physique. He's got a very slender waist. So in the end, I was like, so we're not getting a benefit from putting any extra food in. So let's just see how hard we can load him for the 1 day. And what we can do is super volumizing. So we then trialed a 1 day, putting a little bit of super gel in it and some insulin. And what that actually allowed us to do is, where we were getting maybe 5 or 10% extra fullness from a 2-day load, but it was affecting his midsection look, we managed to create the same volumizing effect by using some of those super compensating drugs. just for the one day. So once we found out how much we could load in and what brought about the right amount of fullness, then it's about mimicking what brings the look to the stage. So then we would start pulling his water back, and then literally the same as you do for show. Come Sunday, which was the first mock show day, I had him wake up, send me weight, send me pictures. First meal with 500 ml of fluid in, send me pictures 90 minutes later. Is he better? Is he not? What was the sodium? Usually keep sodium the same. Then I would put a similar meal in, depending on what his weight did, but I would increase the fluid a little bit or increase the carb amount. Monitor how he looks 90 minutes to 2 hours after that. And we did this all day, not just for the show time, because once we got the mock show time, we would assess the pictures from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock to what we'd seen the night before. Was it a better look? Was it not a better look? But that's you not done then, because now you can use the rest of the day to be like, right, what about if we put more fluid in, more carbs in? So then I would increase the cream of rice portions from 50 or 75 to 100 grams. I find for 40 to 50 grams of carbs, you need about 300 or 400 ml of fluid to get the right amount of fullness. And obviously that depends on what you've done the days before and body type. So then I was like, right, let's increase his fluid to 750 ml for the meal. Take pictures 90 minutes later. And over the course of the time, we realised that Seb can get away with more fluid. Now, some people need less fluid, such as myself. I was only doing 300 or 400 ml a meal. So that worked really well for Alicante, and he was really dry, really conditioned. He was actually leaner than anybody else on stage, more or less, or very close to me. Do you know what I mean? Once the show's done, and I do this with loads of clients, that is not you done. You need to put more work in my opinion, and learn post-show. So what I get my clients to do is, I don't restrict them what they can eat per se. I'm like, I want you to put your fluid to a set amount. So say 5 or 6 litres, based on what they've had during the day. And then I just want you to log what you eat, being mindful of digestion. Then we see how he wakes the next day and before.
And how you look, yeah.
Yeah. So literally, and I did it with James last year. So literally said the next day was like, this is what I ate. This is what I drank. And he woke up 7 or 8 pounds, but just as dry. Now, if I hadn't have logged all of that, I would have lost all of that information. And if we hadn't messed about with things, we wouldn't know. So then in my head, I was like, so how much can we fill him? So the next day I was like, right, eat all day, just fucking eat. So he did, logged it. He was up another 3 pounds the next day, just as lean, just as dry. So his show day weight in Alicante was 13, was it 13? 13.5, 13.4, right? On the Monday, he was up 13.10, 13.11, just as lean, just as dry, but bigger. Now, not many people can get away with that. I would look like a sack of shit personally, but Seb didn't. So I was like, right, we got beat on size. So now we know we need you waking up about 13.10. So last week, because he was off work, every day before bed he would send me his weight, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then the show day in Poland was going to be 5 o'clock, not 1 o'clock like Alicante. So we changed his gym time to 4 o'clock. And then every day he would send me pictures at dinner time and at 3 o'clock. And every day I would change the amount of food and the amount of fluid to make sure that one, he was waking at 13.9, 13.10, and then seeing where we looked his best on what fluid and what food. So what we found is, if we were getting his weight to 13.12, 13.13 by 3 o'clock, that was his best look. Waking at 13.9 and then being on stage in the mocks at 12, 13. So then that's all we had to do come show day. So, and the beauty of these mocks is, for one, there's no guesswork come show time. And I'll explain why that's important in a minute. For two, the client now knows exactly what to expect. So there's no stress for them. There's no balling. Seb's done mock show days 5 times now this year alone, before he's even got to stage. So he's completely calm with it because he knows what's going on. Do you know what I mean? And then if something goes wrong, so he booked the wrong flight to the wrong airport. So he's flying to Poland on Friday, competing on Saturday. Thursday night, he sends me a message, Hilly, I fucked up. I'm going to have to fly out at 7 o'clock in the morning to one airport, spend 2 hours in that airport. Then I'm going to have to fly to another airport, wait there, then hire a car. So he ended up travelling from 6 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, which is a disaster right now. Most people would freak. But I was like, this is not an issue, because we know where we need you going to bed. We know where we need you waking up, and we know where you need. So I made him take his scales with him in his backpack. I put an eighth of a diazide on the morning to counteract for any fluid he might hold, because he was going from flight to flight. Every time he got off the plane, he would go to the toilet, he would send me pictures, he would send me his weight, and then I just manipulated his fluid alongside the meals. So by the time he got in the hotel at night, he was going to bed at 14:1. We pulled a meal out because there must have been some fluid there from the travel, but it didn't matter where the fluid's from. The fact is, he just needed to be that weight. So he ended up with one meal less because he was already where we needed him to be. We didn't need any diazide because we know we hadn't used any during the week. And as long as he was 14:1, I know he's going to wake about 13:9, 13:10. He then woke 13:10, no stress. We already knew exactly what meals, at what time, with what fluid he needed to bring about his best look at 4 o'clock, so 5 o'clock in the morning. He just carried that on, no stress, and literally the day, and then he came second. And we think he got beat because he wasn't opening his back poses, so they moved him at the very last minute.
But I think what you need to say as well, Hilly, is to do this sort of thing, you need to have somebody who's very, very honest with you and tell you, and you need someone who's accountable, right? And they're going to tell you.
You need someone that's going to put the work in. You need someone that, because that's a lot of work there, and you've got to be thriving off it or enjoying it. So you all would love doing that. Seb's like, Hilly, I'm going to compete again at the weekend because I'm having the most amount of fun. Having to go through these, jump through these hoops, learn. But I think the other important thing is, if your coaches just say to you, do this, do this, do this, do this, there's no fun for you.
You're not learning either.
No. Well, what I've continued to say is, for me and clients, for me and Deck, for me and Riz, when we work together, it's about a team effort and learning together. So the more I explain what we're looking for, and the more I explain what we're trying to get out of it, the more the client then knows what they're looking for. So they're like, Seb's now like, Hilly, I know. Like, sorry, I know there. So like, he's learning, Deck's learning, I'm learning from their bodies. And then you're having fun, and it comes back to what I say over and over again. Seb messaged me yesterday, he was like, Hilly, we're going to compete again at the weekend because I'm having so much fun doing this. No stress.
When you can keep the stress nice and low, and you're just having a laugh and a joke.
Yeah.
Just to touch on that stress point as well, and it's because it's something that I hate, because it's like a personal dig at me across the industry. So how often do you see, if your coach sends you a peak week plan, it's a red flag, get rid of him? Every popular coach says this at the moment, and it's absolute nonsense. And I'll explain why. Hilly mentioned in that statement then, stress 804 times. The peak week plan is not set in stone. But what this enables me to do with my clients is map out, or at least outline, how that week effectively is going to look. This is kind of the food you're going to be eating. This is the times you're going to be eating. This is where I need the weight. This is where I need the pictures. This is kind of where we're anticipating land at the show. This is where I need you to travel. This is where I need to meet you, all this sort of stuff. So people that dig that logic out, in my opinion, are highly inexperienced coaches, because they don't have the ability, or they're not emotionally intelligent. They can't manage someone's feelings or their stress levels. By doing that, you're just setting out a guideline and say, look, this isn't set in stone. This isn't me saying I can see into the future and say this is exactly how you're going to look. But what I absolutely can do is, for the next 7 days, I can give you a guideline of what you need to be doing for the next 7 days, when you need to talk to me, and give me all the biofeedback I need.
And it's and it's something that I am huge on, as you know, is that I like to give my clients a 7-day walkthrough. On that 7-day plan, it's got what cardio you're doing, what you're training, what supplements you're taking, and what your food, as Deck said, may look like. And I've gathered all that information from the trials that we've done, from the information that I've gathered. Now, and then it says in massive red capitals, this is all likely to change, but this is roughly how you're going to look.
A base.
Yes.
A base.
And to touch on what Deck's saying there, in line with what I'm saying, I'm pretty experienced at this shit, right? But AJ, he doesn't do that. He likes to do it meal by meal, or every 2 meals, right? And even for me, that is pretty knowledgeable on this and has done it a fair few times, that was stressful for me.
But the problem with that was, you're at your fucking 2 hours from show, and he's like, yo, I need you to get some purified ghee. When you told me before, I would have had that.
Yeah. And not just that, though. And the main point here is, if me, who's been doing this an awfully long time and is pretty experienced and is pretty knowledgeable, if I find that a bit stressful. The fact that, yes, I've got everything prepared and I've got OCD and everything's there or most things are there. But if I still found that stressful because I couldn't plan my day or I didn't know what was going on, then I can be pretty guaranteed 90% of other people in this game are going to find it very stressful. Whereas, like Dex said, if your week is mapped out so you know roughly what you're doing, you know roughly what you need, where you need to be, the stress is reduced. And again, if all of this isn't guesswork, like Dex says, you're not pulling it out. It's not, he's the fucking big. It's information that we've gathered over time, that we've learned from your body. And then, yes, it is likely going to change somewhat, but we've already gathered all of this and we know barely how it's going to look. So then and one of the key things I say to people is, I never enjoyed many of my peak weeks because I was so stressed. Clients, my coaches were abroad or whatever else was going on. My whole goal with clients is to remove all of the stress. I am there to stress for them. I am there to think for them. I want my clients to have fucking fun. I want them to get up in the morning, take pictures and be like, shit, Hilly, look at this. They know exactly what they're doing. They're chilled. They're having fun. How many people do you speak to? They don't even enjoy that running because they're stressed. They don't know what they're doing. The coach doesn't know what they're doing. They're waiting on WhatsApps. They're waiting on messages. If you have this template, you know where you need to be. You know what you need to do. As long as I'm on the ball and you're on the ball and we're working as a team, and if we've already run through these trials, then you know roughly what's going to happen and what's required of you. Yeah. There is no stress. You're just having fucking fun, aren't you? And it comes back to what I keep saying, having fun. This isn't your job, and it's not most people's jobs. You're getting paid for it. It's your hobby. It should be your passion. You should be there to show off your work that you've put in all year or for 2 years, and you should be enjoying that part of it.
What I used to do was, I used to get your peak week plan, yeah? And I used to hate it that it used to be in the table, right? But I knew it was there, so I'd type it all out in Word, day by day, and I'd stick it all over the kitchen, and as the day was going, I'd rip it off. And then I'd obviously write on top, or Hilly said 25 gram extra, and I'd make note of it all, then I'd keep them to the side. That way I knew exactly what I was going to do the next day, knew what day was gone. I think just having it written down is good. Yeah.
That's all mine, written out day by day, meal by meal into the show. Okay, so then I know, do you know what I mean? And then I make notes and that.
Write all your stuff as well. Like, are you
I do personally. But this is more, mine's all written because AJ fires you at it at a time. So what I was doing is, and he works on WhatsApp, which I don't like, because you're scrolling up and down, you see, it gets confusing for me. So, whereas I send an Excel template out to a client so they can print it off, they can send me the information and we can both fill it in as we go, you see. So then what I do is, I was then copying what he wanted me to do on here, very much the same as what Riz just said. I can then tick off. So on one side it'll have AM supplements, PM supplements.
Yeah. You write it in your own way.
Yeah. When I need to have a vodka, when I need to have a diuretic, what fluid? Because for example, if I go through this here, where is it?
I don't just mean for people, but like, say like me, I got say January, right? And then I'll write, and I'll write the dates, weight, my macros, steps, cardio training, and then my gear. And I'll have that
every day.
Every day, yeah.
That's pretty sick. I like that.
I do the same.
Then I do the same for March. And I've got that. I've got books like that for like 4 years. For every year, I'll start a new book. I've got 4.
Yeah. So mine, Julie. So I keep a daily one. So what I put on mine is my weight, what I'm training, what I'm doing for cardio, and then it's got my to-dos. So what's my most important to-dos? What must be done that's a non-negotiable, and then what needs to be done. Then supplements, where I'm injecting, what I'm training, and I've got a log for my bowel movements, one for sleep, one for fluid, and I fill that in every day. And then I sit on a night, and I've done an IGTV on sleep health and how improving your sleep. What I found a good few years ago, as I was getting busier and as I had lots to do, even before the baby, was I would go to bed thinking about shit that I had to do the next day. Because at one point I was working for the NHS, I was doing sports physio clients, and then I had my coaching clients, and then I had other stuff going on, business-wise and that. So I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about it. And I watched this podcast that said, you should keep a daily journal and you should offload your brain. onto paper the night before.
Yeah.
So every night at 10 o'clock, 9:30, I just lay out what I need to be done the next day. And then as I get up, I check it. And then at lunchtime, I'll check it. Have I done my important ones? What's been done? And then on a night, I'll go through anything that's been missed. I'll put a comment why, and then I add it to the next day.
See, I write it down on paper, but I never keep it. So I bought an A1 whiteboard and put it downstairs. He's not happy about it, but I put all my shit on there.
Well, I wanted to do that, but Charlotte moaned like a motherfucker, so I didn't.
Because it's good because she writes on it too, so it's working out quite good. I'll get this, whatever, let him do this, do that.
It's in a book. You've got it, and then you can trace it back. Like I can look back, say like last year, be like, right, I was 245, and I got pictures on my phone from like check-ins and that. So I'll be like, right, how did I look at that weight? What was I doing here? And then I'm like, right, now I look like that, and I'm eating this much, and I'm training like that. So it's a good way to kind of track.
But that's why I told you, like with Martin, I track it on his thing every day, and I've got the same data in her, but digitally. Do you know what I mean? So it's similar, isn't it? Really, you're filling it manually. I'm filling it on a form.
Go on, Dick. What were you going to say?
I was just saying, going back to the whole peak week thing, because I do it a little bit differently, Hilly, but I think it gets the same results, and it's just in a different time frame. So kind of where you ran with Seb after the show, which is obviously beneficial. Like if we work in that 4-week window, what I always do. 4 week is the mark to be ready for me. Like 4 weeks out, because that gives me a week running the show to drop the fatigue. That gives me week 4 out, I'll run a mock week to try and get as close as possible to the look with all the data we have. Now, week 3 out is the one where I really try and fuck the look. And all of my clients will know this, and it scares the life out of them. But I will push and push and push into over 3 or 4 days until I can really destroy the look. And what that gives me is enough data to understand how much food can we push, how full can we get, where's the spilling point. But the big bit of data that I get off the back of that is how long does it take to tidy up. And this is where it comes back to my whole, I like to do the fill, spill, and then dry out. So with my last client, Alex, who won the PCA show, 3 weeks out, he literally texted me saying, I feel like I've put on 10 pounds of fat and I feel like I'm 14 weeks out again. That dried off in 3 days. And it was his best look to date. Obviously, we pulled training output and cardio down drastically. And then at 5 days out, I told him we're going to do the exact same thing again, which was an obscene amount of food. It was 1,500 grams of carbs over 3 days. Spilled them out 48 hours out, and then a little bit of diazide with a little bit of food into the show. But I think that's just another way of doing the same thing that Hilly's done with Seb post-show, but it just stresses the importance to everybody. This is why every coach tries to get you ready early. It just gives you the ability to put yourself in the best position to try these things, because what you don't want to do is leave 10% on the table where you could be 10% better. And if you're running into the show 1 week out and you've still not done a trial mock, you don't know how you're going to fill out, it's probably going to end pretty badly.
Just the guesswork at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, some people have, like, if someone came to me 2 weeks out and they were like, listen, I want you to do my running. We all have, there's locked and loaded methods you can do. Do you know, everybody's got a locked and loaded safe method. But the beauty of, the fact is, we brought about a ridiculous look for Seb both times. And because we had full control over his look, I could manipulate. I mean, I was sending you the pictures.
Yeah,
I had the ability to manipulate his body every 90 minutes to 3 hours. And then when you're at that level of being an amateur Olympia in Spain, being in Poland, looking for a pro card, yada, 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 you can then assess, well, where did you miss out on last time? And can you improve that? So Seb was literally the most dialed in on stage, but he was outsized. So we then gathered information that, well, how big can we make you whilst maybe not being, and he wasn't as dry and as sharp as he was in Alicante, but if he was already 50% leaner than everybody then, we managed to add 6 or 7 pounds and he was still leaner than the other people on the stage. Do you know what I mean? So it's at that level, you really need to be dialed in. And then it comes back to, well, really at any level, do you not want to be 100% dialed in? Of course you do. And again, I think it comes down to who you are as a client and who you're working with and where you try to push. Because for me, the fun part for me is being dialed in with Wiz, being dialed in with Deb. The fun part for me is how much can we control your body? What can we achieve with it? not trying to fucking do stupid things to get this extra 1%. Like, I'm very much against that.
Only I do that shit, to myself.
Well, I only do it to myself,
Yeah.
But what I want to have control. I want the client to be having fun because they are confident in, he knows what he's doing. You know, we've done it. We know. And that's the thing. I am not stressed. It's Thursday. The show is Saturday. We did this 2 weeks ago. Like Dex said there, I've woke up a watery mess and Dex fixed it in 24 hours. Like, the only time it bites you in the ass is when I used to work with Hamza. I remember Hamza coming to my room at 6 o'clock in the morning, right, at the British finals. Hilly, I got high last night and I've eaten loads of cookies, mate. I fucked up. And his last went to me, he's eating the cookies, going to me, it's okay, Hilly can fix anything, I'm sound.
Yeah, it's fucking mad, isn't it?
Yeah, so sometimes it can bite you in the ass, but that's a rare occasion, do you know what I mean? But it just...
Hey, is there any way, Riz, we can get those 2 sets of pictures up of Seb? Because they are drastically different. You know, from his first when he was loading to that second lot Hilly was sending us midweek, like, it was crazy.
You muted yourself.
I've got quite Riz.
You got no mic.
Can you send me the picture of Seb side by side on WhatsApp, and I'll share the screen on the.
Which one was it, Dick?
There was 2 lots of them, wasn't there? There was ones where it was his first show, and then those second ones where he just looked like a fucking monster. Shall I see if I can find them? Yeah.
You sent him in the group, yeah.
Lads, shall we get Thingy on soon? Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good for it, yeah.
Yeah, I've just messaged him as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there was quite a lot of people wanting Nathan Styles.
Yeah, would be a great one if he's got the time, definitely.
I'll message him. I know he's very fucking
Nathan
busy
was on
right
the one
now.
with me and Ryan. Nathan's good. To be fair, we've had most people on the other one, so most of them really good. Most have been always wanting to come on, and so yeah.
I definitely want to get Matt Tofton on. I'm going to try to get Ryan Rhino on. All
I'd like
people up
Tofton
on the. Tofton's brilliant. He's a fucking
Matt
sick
will come
guy.
on. I'm more than confident Matt would come
Oh yeah,
on.
Matt asked before, but we were just trying to sort out times, and then we stopped doing podcasts. But definitely Matt. I'll ask Nathan as well. I'll ask him right now.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Here we go. I've got it. Right, let me put this together here. And I'll put it in the group now. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going as quick.
You're so right about his back, though. He hits his back shot almost like a bodybuilder. He tenses like through his traps and then down, rather than like the classic men's physique where they flare their delts out.
Yeah, this is a pretty... The angles aren't exact, but it's as good as I can do.
Have you sent it? Yeah.
I'm just about to now, kid. Give me 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7.
It's had about 7 fucking questions come through. The fucking phone kept going off.
Good.
Yeah, there you go. Done. It's in the group.
Hold on.
It's fucking off it when I look at that, actually. Sometimes I impress myself.
It was the best I'd ever seen him. Like, that was kind of, it sounds really silly, but just because I know Seb, that was kind of the look that I almost envisioned, I always knew he was capable of. Does that make sense?
Bro, he's not even this is not even him at 100%, brother. With one off season, the guy's going to be damaged, bro. Watch. Damage. It's going to be different
Look
level.
at the fucking difference in that shot, man.
Right.
Just so much fullness through that chest as well.
Like,
Yeah.
Are you going to pop this up on the screen now, Riz?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Hang on.
Can you see it, boys?
Not
Yeah,
yet,
it's just
coming up,
loading.
loading.
What a pile of shit. What a violation. It's going to fuck up my fucking video, man. Hold on, man. Piece of shit. There we go.
Hey, Riz, what I'll do is I'll repeat that bit again, so can we get the photo up of Seb and then edit it out, yeah?
Yeah.
Can we get that photo up of Seb?
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
It's like magic.
So can you see what I mean by... So the one on the left was Alicante, right? So he woke up 13.5 and we hovered around 13.5 to 13.6 all day because I checked his weight before we left and then when we got back. He is dry without a doubt. Obviously the lighting's better on the left than the right. And here he came fourth. He was massively outsized, right? Well, not massively, but he was outsized. But he was so much drier and sharper than everybody. So for the next show, we were like, right, let's see how much we can push and still maintain a condition that's as good as everybody else's. Yeah. So here we walk up 13.9, which is already 4 pound heavier than he walked last time. And then he was about 13.11, 13.12 on stage. So you're talking there's a half a stone difference here. Now, yes, without a doubt, he is not as sharp through the obliques, but he was still leaner than everybody in his class this time again. So this is where, at this level, sometimes you're like, we keep getting beat by bigger guys, so we need to make him bigger. How big can we make and still hold that condition? Do you know what I mean?
And just,
they're
just
putting out a on men's physique next year.
They are.
Is that for the amateurs as well? Is that just for
just the
pro ranks?
Right. Okay.
So you're pretty fucked if you get too big, and when you're amateur, you have to come back down.
If we,
I think imagine you're like massive and you turn pro in, like 220, and you got.
What were you going to say there, Dave?
How is that going to work?
I was just going to say, just kind of from an insight, from a coaching's perspective, for like the people who haven't prepped people before or prepped. Obviously, there's a terminology thrown around a lot between flat and full. Now, Seb isn't flat on the left here, but it seems to be a really common trend, specifically in males, is when someone is not full of glycogen and dry, their midsection seems to look a bit softer. Now, there's clearly more detail here on the left-hand side for Seb, specifically for the obliques, but look at his midsection between the difference. See how it's like compressed against the skin? Like, that is a real telltale sign to me that he is drastically fuller, and you can see all the detail for the center of his midsection. His abs are fuller, they're a bit blockier, but in a good way. Does that make sense? It's like it's pressed tightly against the skin. And for people who haven't experienced it or understand what that terminology means, this is exactly what they're talking about. You're not talking about someone who's doubled inside of muscularity, but just enough to press that muscle against the skin is without holding any more additional fluid subcutaneously.
Yeah. But it would be so good to see Seb if we can grow them legs and do classic, because he'd be blind the fuck.
He's got it as well, 100%. He definitely has.
And again, with this, the picture on the left, the lighting is superb. The picture on the right, the lighting is terrible. What's funny is, I don't know who the other kid is in the picture, but if you could see the other kid in the picture, he's so far out of shape compared to Seb, it's fucking nuts. They all were, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was really, what was annoying was, for this, 2 people came up to Seb after the show and were like, "You've won hands down, but you weren't opening your back." And at the very last minute, they've switched him with this bigger kid, and we think it's just because he wasn't opening his back. But that's
sometimes you just make a mistake and you fix it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Let me show now. Just spoken to Nathan Styles. He went, he'll come on.
Sound.
He was he's happy that he's a fan favourite in that. So,
yeah, he is. Yeah, because he's fucking £359 million. That's right.
It was really bad. I thought he did that really gay thing on Instagram where he followed me and unfollowed me. So I unfollowed him, and then I realised it was actually a fake account and someone hacked him, so now I had to follow him back.
That's
now
the
I think I'm the gay person.
So it is, bro, in the past year or two, Nathan has really done well with a lot of people. I'll give him credit where it's due, man. He just tries.
Not just that, he's just such a lovely kid as well. I'm a big fan of Nathan, big fan.
Bro, I've known him since like 2017 or something. First show, he didn't even know who the fuck I was, and he was helping me. Do you know what I mean? So you always appreciate a nice person.
Yeah, we saw him at the universe.
Right, shall we get on?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, bro, he's big, isn't he, Chuds, bruv?
So big.
He's a unit, bro. He's a unit, man. But he's a friendly giant, though.
Yeah,
he's a single bad bone.
It's like what we said last week, though, isn't it? Where people can't understand the concept of weight. Like, you don't understand how big this man is until you see him stood next to other pros, and then it all makes fucking sense.
When he first turned pro, I thought, because he's a tall guy, will he be able to fill it out anymore? But he has.
I never thought he was going to turn pro, to be honest, for it. Like, I saw him a few years back. I did a seminar with like James Hollinshead, Cuba, and Jamie Johow. This was years back now, 4 or 5 years ago. And I saw him in around the gym, and he was just... I just never thought he would make it because he was so big. Does that make sense? I thought his frame was so big he'd never have enough muscle, but he's fucking proved me wrong, that's for sure.
But look at the drastic difference between the PCA that he done the year before and then the year after. He goes up and obviously looks massively different.
bro. To how big he gets and how uncomfortable that must be. Oh, fucking hell, brother. The guy's
Seems
a
to be
monster, man.
very moderate with drugs and that as well. Like you can tell he's not really bullshitting. He doesn't seem to really be pushing the envelope that much over for someone of his size.
No, I think it's just I'm a big fan of following his journal on Trained by JP. If I'm honest,
True, yeah.
Just because it's good to see the amount of food someone that size puts away on a daily basis. Do you know?
It's a lot of fucking prawns, I tell you that much.
Yeah, people always look at the drugs or the training and stuff, and obviously everybody knows I'm a huge fan of drugs and I'm a fan of the training. But for me,
food is king, man.
What impresses me is someone's ability to put away like deck. Like it's something that I've always struggled with as well because of my digestive issues, and you could even argue I'm a bit of a pussy with it. Someone like Sam, my client Sam, that kid, right? He's eating 350, 400 gram portions of rice day in, day out, no mourning, no bitching. And like, just Jordan, do you know what it is, right? Like, obviously Jordan's one of my best mates, right? And that kid has continuously impressed me from the moment we became mates. But I remember for one point, if I'm not mistaken, and I very rarely am, sure he was doing like 9 or 10,000 calories a day for a prolonged period, right? And like, most people will be like, I can do that, eat pizza, eat this. Wasn't pizza and shit, right? Like, I know how it feels to eat 6,000 calories a day. We all probably do, right? But Jordan has this ability to suffer like nobody else does. I can suffer pretty good for some things, right?
Yeah.
But Jordan's ability to suffer blows everybody else out of the water. And to be that big as they are, I know the suffering that goes in. Not to taking the drugs, the training, yes. But for me, the most impressive thing is putting that food away, day in, day out, preparation of food, forcing the food down,
as well.
the lethargy, the sweating, the bloat. Like, you've got to think, right? Yeah, having a jab can be uncomfortable sometimes, but we can all fucking stab ourselves 10 times a day if we want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like going to the gym, it doesn't matter how brutal your workout is, it's 2 fucking hours even if you're sick. But eating, waking up and eating, fucking 2 and 3 hours day after. I tell you what, I like watching, stupid as it is, what's his name? Rich Piana's videos.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Bigger by the Day one?
Yeah.
The food that kid puts away, right, continuously. At one point, he's eating 10 meals a day. Jay Cutler, I watched one the other day, that I've watched about 7 or 8 times. 8 or 9 meals a day, every 2 hours, bang, 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 bang. It's that impresses me most. Because people just think, oh, the food. It's the fact that if you're eating every 2.5 hours, 2 hours, right, you're finishing one meal, you've got half an hour, and then you're preparing the next meal. Do you know, it's all bum.
It's how you can always tell someone's never done an off season if they tell you they enjoy off season. It's always the way. If they say they love the off season, they've never done a proper off season.
Off season is hard. Prep is easy.
Oh, I know, man.
It's like it takes you half an hour to fucking eat that meal.
Yeah.
You're like, you eat every 2 hours, but like it takes you half an hour to actually eat that first meal, and then you got to cook the next one, and it's like, fuck me.
I always say, if I mess up my day by 1 hour, that's the peak off season is fucked. If I oversleep by half an hour, my whole day is absolutely fucked.
It's when you start stacking food together, you got to whack one meal with the other one, then you think, do I have 2? Then you fuck your stomach up, and then it's going to cascade into the next one. Oh, it's a madness, bruv.
Not just that, it's working it around being normal. So like for me, I still like to go and see my mates, and I like to still see. I like to try and make sure it doesn't interfere with my life.
Really, you come on, man. You can't do this sport and be normal, brother, man. Let's be honest, bro.
What I mean is like the packing up and the preparing it and the taking it to places. Like that effort that you've, like when I was in Dubai with the girls, so I didn't miss a meal. I didn't slip off plan. I was either taking my weighing scales to restaurants so I could get, because obviously over there, they will cater to any need you want. You know what I mean? They're like, it's good like that. So I had to be up earlier than normal to make sure my food was prepped. I had to make sure that I was taking my meals with me. I had my scales. That effort, you know what I mean? But then doing that all of the time.
Do you not think as well? Some people make it harder for themselves unnecessarily. So, like, for example, I'll cook all my rice for the day, first thing in the morning, and I'm like, it's fucking done, right? If you like, right, you got an egg meal, and a beef meal, and then bagel meal, and then 10, 20 different types of fucking food.
Yeah, it's long, bro. Fuck that.
Someone was like, "Oh, the day of eating," and I'm like, "It's gonna be really fucking boring because it's just fucking chicken and rice all day long." And it's like,
well, I'd say
it's easy that way.
When I saw Billy, he used to be like, "Oh, shoot!" I was like, "Listen, mate, just give me chicken and rice 5 times a day. I can't be fucking arse. I've not got time to cook salmon, fucking swordfish. I've fucking got time for that shit when you're working 9 to 5."
I tell you what, here's a good little topic / question that we can move into. So that is one of the reasons why I use cooked weight, not raw weight. I know it's a very British thing and I don't know why, you should only use raw weight, right? Yet every top bodybuilder in America, most Mr. Olympians, all use cooked weights. Yet you've got, again, fucking nobody's sat on Instagram telling you that really you should use raw weights because bodybuilders said.
I think the only one that carries merit, in my opinion, to do raw is beef and rice, if you're using fresh rice. Because I use microwave rice all year round. It's the same thing every fucking time, so I don't really care.
So this is it, you see. So for me, and this is where a bit of logic comes in, right? So I use the same rice cooker year round. So my cooked rice, so my cooked rice is the fucking same, right?
Yeah.
If you're making it with a pan and you're changing the amount of water, then it might be different, right? So you've got to use a bit of common sense. But one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of using cooked weight is because then, if you know, and this is for lifestyle clients and off-season bodybuilders, shall we say, if you know by eye what 150 grams of chicken or rice looks like, right? Because you're making it all of the time. If you get stuck or you've got to eat out, you can pretty much eyeball your meal, do you know what I mean? And in this day and age, you can go anywhere and get cooked food from a supermarket or a fucking petrol station, right? So if I give clients cooked amounts, they've never got an excuse to not follow their plan. There is never a reason not to. Whereas if you're using raw amounts, it makes it very difficult to eyeball things. And then just to move on to that, it doesn't really matter whether you use raw or cooked. No one gives a fuck, right?
You're still standardized.
As long as you were doing the same thing over and over. So Seb, for example, Seb's just come fucking top 2 at Poland, top 4 in the amateur Olympia, right? He's a pretty high standard of bodybuilder. The kid goes to the petrol station and buys cooked chicken and cooked rice. And look at him, right?
Yeah.
So all you kids that have not been on stage, that don't know whether you're fucking asshole from your fucking barbell, right? Going on about this and that. Kid's buying his meals out of the petrol station and he manages. So it's not that important. What is important is being consistent. So if you want to use raw, that's fine. Use raw. But my argument is, if I go and buy chicken from this very posh butcher's around the corner, or I buy chicken from Macro, if I cook raw and then I cook it and wait, it's completely different.
It's completely different, bro. Yeah, I agree.
So is that not thrown off there? Is that not wrong? Whereas if I'm always weighing it cooked, it doesn't matter where I've bought it from because so is that not more accurate? I mean, it doesn't. I'm not arguing one or the other way because I do both with clients. But what I'm saying is, and the same as beef mince, right? So I know 12 ounce of Tesco beef mince that is reduced price match to Aldi at the moment for anybody that wants to get a cheap deal. 12 ounces of 5% beef mince in the frying pan goes down to 9 ounces, which is what I used in prep. And that happens every fucking time because I did it every time. So does it really matter if I'm using cooked or raw as long as I'm cooking it the same way? It doesn't. And that's where you've got to use a bit of logic. For me, it doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. What I'm all about is what Chubby was saying there, is using a bit of common sense and making it easy for yourself.
What were you going to say, Chuds?
So what I do, I get up and I'm like, right, I've got 4 meals of rice, all 120 grams of rice each, raw. So I dump 408 grams of rice, raw, in the rice cooker. I cook it down, right, and then I scoop it out as I go. I'm not weighing it on the scale. If one meal is 110 grams of rice or 125 grams of rice, it doesn't fucking matter. As long as by the end of that day, I've eaten all my 4 meals and my fucking rice is done. It's gone. That's how I kind of think of it. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. I don't have to measure it like to the fucking gram per meal.
Bro, The thing is, D was like, right, Rich, you keep buying jasmine rice here, and I was eating loads in off season. They're like 99p a pack. Can I just cook it for you? So we cooked it raw, yeah, with the same fucking water, same temperature, same hob, same pan, yeah, and 500 grams made 2 kilos of cooked. So we thought, okay, that's the portion size for 4 meals, right? Did it again, same water, same everything, different weight. I go, so you know what? Fuck this. This is a ball egg. I'm just going to eat microwave rice.
And this is where it really throws people off, I think, especially these new young lads, kind of like Hilly's mentioning. When you watch the likes of some of the IFBB pros, and let's use Kuba as an example, like he often says things like, "I cook all my meals fresh. They got to be fresh. I cook them on the pan, they're ready," and that's great when you're an
I do
IFBB
that
pro
every day, yeah.
and you have no 9 to 5 job. But like for me, I take a slab of the massive packets of chicken from Costco. I chuck them in the oven with no fucking spices on or seasoning or anything like that. I bang it in the oven. I do the same thing as Chuds does. I do 2 days worth of rice in the rice cooker, and I do just wait out and cook. Wait. But then what I can do is I can just section it all off into those meals and just pick at them as and when I need them and spice them and season them as and when I'm eating them. The problem is people are trying to copy these people, which makes it unsustainable, which is why they fall off their diet.
You have to find your own formula. Yeah, it's simple as that, man.
So like for me and what I've always done, and it might be because I've worked with American coaches from the beginning, so they like cooked weights. For me, I've always had the same rice cooker. Now I've got a different rice cooker, but I use the same rice cooker every day. And I do like what Chuddy said. I wake up in the morning, I put my oats and my rice flakes in a bowl to soak. Then I turn the rice cooker on and I cook 4 cups of rice. So that is all of the rice I will need for the day. Yeah. And then that might do me 2 days. And then I just wait cooked. But I've been using cooked rice for the last decade. And it's always out of a rice cooker. And it says 2 cups and you fill it to the 2 cup mark of water. So there is no fucking variance. So there's no, the rice comes out of the jasmine rice packet from Tesco. The water's at the same level. It is as accurate as you could possibly hope it to be. My chicken, right? As long as it's cooked chicken, it doesn't matter whether I do it in the pan, do it in the slow cooker. All of the fluid will come out of it. So I am only weighing lean meat, right? If there is a 1 or 2% variance, which there won't be, it doesn't matter. But then that also allows me, because when I used to work away doing dry lining and stuff, I could go to, I don't know, a Tesco and buy a cooked chicken and pull the chicken breast off. I could go to Aldi and buy the chicken in the packets. I know I am always getting roughly the same amount. And again, yes, there may be a 3 or 4% variance. But unless you're in prep, that variance doesn't matter because there's a variance about how many steps you do, how much. If you do an extra hour at work, you've already burnt them calories. If you have an extra from wank a day, you've burned some of those calories. If you argue with your burden, you're stressed, you've burnt those calories. Like you've got to put it into real world perspective.
Bro, my best prep shit were the ones with that D.
Even with those chicken breasts, it's not like they're all exactly the same fatness, exactly the same like leanness. One chicken breast might be a little bit fattier than another, so you get that thrown off anyway. There's like food labels are like off, but can be off by like 10 to 15% anyway, can't they?
It's 10% tolerance,
10%.
Yeah. So it doesn't fucking matter that much as long as you're consistent.
No,
what Hibby
says,
consistent.
It's got to be, in my opinion, yeah, whatever keeps my stress low is what I'm doing. If that means saying to D, right, we're going to go to Nando's every single week and I'm going to replace one meal, I'm doing it. I don't care.
Yeah.
My best preps are the ones where I just do not stress. Because there's been times where I've been out, I need to go home, need to eat. I'm like, I'll just chill. I'll get some chicken from the shop I'll have a little bit less than what I think eyeball is. I'll have a little bit less rice, and I'm going to eyeball that too. Win-win, do you know what I mean? Everyone's happy.
I don't know if you've ever watched
talking of stupid food thing. Come on, Dave.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, remember what we said about mad excuses for going off plan? So last week, I was in hospital, right? One of my clients messaged me. I went fucking raggo. So I'm in hospital. My bird's in labour. I'm weighing out chicken on a stick. You buy those packets to get my protein, one of those ones to get my protein amounts out. Matching all my meals, he texts me, right? I won't mention his name because he knows I fucking lost it with him and was booting him off the team, saying he's now started Tren. his missus is not at home, so he's really horny, so he had to eat a chocolate bar instead. I kid you not, that is what he messaged me. I went absolutely spastic. I went
They
crazy.
just blocked him. Oh,
I
they just
went
blocked
crazy.
him. You know when clients send me stuff, because I put loads of clients on KVOG because I like it and it's easy and they can eat it at lunch and whatnot at work, yeah? So people are like, oh, can I have this? I'm like, no.
2 secs, lads. Just put a light on.
People are, oh, can I have this instead of the KVOG? Can I have the proteins? I'm like, no, just have the fucking KVOG, bruv. Just eat your fucking meal, bruv. You're changing it from like KVOG to fucking, well, you know, KVOG, Quark, I'm probably saying it wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, can I have this 15% protein dessert? I'm like, no, just eat the fucking meal, bruv. It's not hard, bruv, man.
That's why the off-plan meals for. Stick to your fucking diet all week long, then you get an off-plan meal, you know?
Do you know when you cheat on your diet plan, an off-plan doesn't even taste nice? Because you know you don't deserve it, bruv, and you fucked it. That's why I used to never eat shit. I used to wait till the off-plan and then smash loads of food then.
Yeah, and then when it comes to the off-plan, I fucking eat what I want.
Yeah, so do I, yeah.
So
I
then,
just like to keep it decent. That's all I ever say to myself.
For me, I've said this before, my rule of thumb is just don't fuck your digestion. That's all it is.
yeah.
For me, just make sure the food's decent quality. And again, I have no issues with people going to Mackie D's at times, to be honest. As long as, it's like what we were saying before. If you're in the off season and you're overeating, and it doesn't really matter what you're overeating. If I've got someone in prep and I'm replacing a meal, then I would like them to replace the meal with good quality meal that they're replacing. But apart from that, and this is a mistake I made an awful lot, which trends into some of my eating issues, because I was a fat kid, in fairness, is I would then be worried about cheat meals, so then I would restrict my free meals, I would not let myself really have what I want, I would be too clean, and then because I wasn't having really what I wanted and it wouldn't have made a bit of difference, then I would binge and I would go backwards. It's why I was so good with eating disorders when I worked at the eating disorder units, because in all honesty, I had a lot of issues myself because I was a fat kid. And then, I got lean, ripped, whatnot. And then the thought of going back there, watching things slip, when really one of the more, and it's why I'm so on the ball with clients. One of the main ideas of a free meal is to give you a mental release and get it out of your system. And it's important that you don't restrict that too much.
Let me show you a client that's with me now, yeah? And he overanalyzes a lot. I don't know if he's going to let me show him. I'll show him on here. I won't say anything. He's like, bro, I've got a funeral to go to, but I'm still going to eat my meals. One of them ones. I was like, bro, listen, don't stress. Get in what you can get, yeah? And if you've got to eat there, you've got to eat there because of culture, right? He goes, Riz, mate, he goes, since working with you, my stress is so low, yeah? And look at him now, yeah?
Yeah, mega.
Yeah? The kid's fucking natural.
Oh, he's that kid. Yeah.
Trust me, yeah, when I say my man's eating 4,500 calories a day, yeah? He likes barbecues. He likes having all the fancy beef. I'm like, fuck it, have it, yeah. And I can't even see it.
Get it closer.
He's got a chest on him, that lad.
Yeah.
He is. He will, for fact, the way this guy's responding, yeah, on just high volume training split. Don't stress him out. I'm like, bro, if you need to eat out and you're out, just fucking eat it. Yeah, I don't care, as long as it's decent. Because he's over-analysing everything. I'm too fatigued. I'm too this. I'm like, bro, just chill. And ever since he's put on like 6 kilos now, in about 8 weeks, he's still got abs, still got lines, his legs will come up. I'm like, you know what, bruv? It just shows you, just stress less, bruv. Just all about the stress, man.
Especially for like a lifestyle client. If you're someone that's like 12 weeks out, then there's a lot more room for not stressing, but being more analytical. If you're a lifestyle client, come on. Chill out,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Chill out, exactly.
Should we go on the questions?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah? Right. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, if you've got questions.
Chili always has the best questions.
Yeah, I got loads of them. I've got loads today. Massively overweight, fat, probably over 40% body fat, 311 pounds, 6'4".
Oof.
What body fat should I get down to before I try to gain mass?
Until you can see.
So he is 6'4", 311 pounds fat, and he's asking what body fat, or more like, yeah, what body composition should he get down to before he starts?
I want visible limb lines, in my opinion.
I actually thought you were about to say visible penis, so that's why I asked you to shut up.
Yeah, you bastard.
Look, I think, look, realistically, I've had, I think I had 2 or 3 clients like this that had serious body fat to lose. I think for someone like him, he needs to understand it has to be done in stages. Like, you're not going to hit this in one go. The biggest thing he needs to understand is he kind of wants to break this down into like cycles of where he's going. So he'll want to go into an aggressive diet now, but obviously when I say aggressive, so it's sustainable. A problem with a lot of these people, especially if severely overweight, is they will drastically cut calories and increase output, which is not sustainable. They become too fatigued and it needs to binge in. So he wants to set himself at a decent level of calories initially, maybe 3-4 weeks, and then slowly start to bring that down at a decent pace. Once he's done that, even if he wants to work in like set metrics of say 20 pounds a time, get that bit off, go to maintenance then. Get in the gym, tiny bit of maintenance, start enjoying training, getting a pump, that sort of stuff. And then 4 weeks, bang, straight back into the diet again. And just keep doing it in those periods, because I've seen it time and time again, even in my own inexperience with an extremely overweight client I had. I just pushed them too hard from the get-go, and it didn't last long enough. Like, it was a good 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, where they're very keen, they were super excited, they seen the initial drop in weight, and then as soon as it comes to those decisions where their partner wants to have a curry or a kebab, they just start giving in. So just do it at a very slow pace if possible.
You see, in my opinion, bro, when you're that, no offense to the person asking the question, right? When you're that overweight, you can basically just eat a decent meal plan. It can be like 4,000 calories, yeah? And it can have some chocolate in there and shit. Just make them go gym, do high volume workouts. Then people will lose 10, 12 pounds a week, bro. I've seen it with some big guy clients of mine.
Yeah.
And you can say to me, hey, have Saturday off, do what you want here, whatever, carry on.
I was going to say, like, start off, depending on what you're doing, like, because a lot of these guys that are like really overweight, they'll be drinking like full fat Coke and all sorts of shit. Start by just cutting that out, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he says 3'11" at 6'4". That tells me it's not massively muscular, right?
No.
Would you say? Because,
I agree.
you know, if you're 6'4", you can carry a lot of weight. You can be like...
Yeah, especially if he's 40% body fat. Yeah.
I don't think he's... Bro, to be 40% body fat's a very, very large amount. I doubt he's that big. Probably overestimating.
What I'm saying is, if you're not that muscular, I would even like go down to maintenance and just focus on getting strong at the gym to start.
See, what I would do is here. So there's some calculations that were put up. I can't remember who did it. For a rapid fat loss phase, right, you want it in pounds, 10 calories per pound of body weight, right? Now, for a lot of people, that's quite low, but actually medically, that's about where a dietitian would put someone that's massively obese. So if you're 311 pounds, that's 3,100 calories. Now, that might be a big deficit from where this guy must be eating to be 310 pounds. But fact of the matter, whatever he's eating is very calorie dense shit.
Yeah.
He isn't eating, no one gets to 310 pounds eating clean food, right? So actually, because bear in mind, I spent a lot of time working in eating disorders in the NHS with overweight people and stuff. What I would be doing here is, I would be setting his calories at 3,100 calories. So for most people, if you change that into all clean food, he's probably going to come back to you after a week and say, I can't eat all this fucking food.
Right? Food was clean, yeah.
And then I'd be saying, right, you don't even really need to be doing much in the gym initially if he's already not going to the gym. Because if he's not a trained subject, at 310 pounds, he's going to just hurt himself. So for me, I'd be like, right, initially, every morning I want you up and out for a walk, 30 minutes. Let's put you at 3,000 calories. I just want to see what happens for a week. Then I'd be like, right, now let's bring in some weight training. And it could be, and again, you've got to look at the client and be like, is he someone that's actually wanting to go to the gym? Because most people at this weight aren't interested in the gym. They just think they need to go to the gym to get where they want to be. And a lot of the time, sometimes they don't. So it's like, do you want to be in the gym? Do you just want to go to CrossFit classes or whatever else? Then you might, like what was said, I'd definitely be going with a high volume training program. And that's not because high volume would work in that setting better. It's simply because it means he'll have to use less weight and he'll burn more calories, like you said. So it's much easier on his joints. I think by adding in a morning weight, a walk, 3 or 4 gym sessions a week, you might even be able to do if it fits your macros. The problem for me with that is that someone that's got to that weight is used to eating calorie dense food. What I would prefer someone to do is, I'd prefer to give them a meal plan that is 3,000 calories of actual foods they like, right, with some dark chocolate in or some things they like. I wouldn't want them to live like a bodybuilder, but I'd be wanting them to eat a lot of solid food, because that's going to jack up the metabolism, it's going to jack up the leptin levels, and they're going to come back to you and be like, because this is what I do with clients in this situation. Hilly, I'm struggling with all this food, but then they're going to go, but I've lost 7 fucking pound. And instantly, mentally, it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. I can't even eat all this food and I've lost 7 pound. So then it's like, right, just try again. And as the metabolism picks up and they get used to the food a little bit, the weight keeps coming down. They then become more adaptive to the gym. And then to answer his direct question, and to go with what Dex said, is it will definitely have to be done in stages. And it's almost impossible to tell you how far you should come down before you pull back. So for me, you could either set time blocks. We're going to do 12 weeks fat loss, then we're going to chill for 4 weeks. Or you could simply say, listen, you're going to check in every week. We're going to go until your pig's sick, or until, you're feeling tired, you're craving food, and we're going to pull back a bit.
Yeah,
I'd favour what Dex said. I like a timeline personally. I'd be like 12 weeks in, 4 weeks pull, 12 weeks in. But it so much comes down to the client and the psychology mental aspect. See, for me in this instance, I have a lot of these clients like this that are just run 12-week plans. So I'm like, right, listen, run a 12-week plan, check in every 2 weeks, get to work. We'll start another one in 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, just chill out a little bit. Because you've got to establish that, how serious are they, what sort of a break do they need. And I've done this with a lot, but it's very much important. The most important thing, what we've all said, is what Dex said, is coming down to a point, then taking that diet break, that little bit of mental release, eat up the metabolism and go back.
You see, my only issue is, right, if you tell somebody, all right, we're going to do a 12-week phase or 4-week phase, whatever phase, and these are already an overtrained individual, overeating individual, and they end up going back to their old ways, then their foot comes off the gas for a little bit, they end up fat again, they don't even come back. So in my opinion...
Don't even tell them, just kind of like, you have that as a mental note as a coach.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go into explaining to them, this is what we're going to do.
Bro,
I
had a really, really big guy before. He's no longer with me. We dropped about 60 pounds, yeah? And all it was, right, bro, listen, you're going to follow this meal plan. If you complete the week, you'll get a cheat meal at the end of the week. But in his meal plan anyway, I had nice foods. Anyway, I had like a chocolate bar every day because he was so big. And we just dropped... I'm just feeding him. I didn't create like Hilly always said to me, he goes, don't create this bad food, good food thing. It is just food. I was like, all right, we're just going to give you it was a galaxy ripple every night. Him happy, I'm happy, he's following the plan, he's under the calories, win-win. Do you know what I mean? I think that way you're not creating a bad mindset about food.
Unless they've already
the
got
other bit of advice I would give to these people.
Hey?
I think unless they've already got an eating disorder, because a lot of people that are overweight or like 40% body fat, chances are you've already got an eating disorder.
Yeah. What a lot of people do that way, then they find it hard to admit, but the honest truth is, a lot of these people, they do want to lose weight. They will do this salad and chicken diet for about most of the day. They'll come home and they'll just be like, oh, fuck, I need to eat. Or something happens, someone dies, sad news, bad news, whatever, and they just binge eat like shit. There's no way you can get that fat, brother. Do you know what I mean?
I think for these people as well, like a really good tip, and it is a really good tip, is to be honest with yourself and create a food diary. Like, these people don't understand how calorie dense these foods are. Like things like sugar in their tea and coffee, having butter on their toast, peanut butter on their toast, jam on their toast, having their wife cook them a lasagna for tea and all this sort of thing. Like, these are extremely calorie dense foods. And I think if you can get them to track a week for you, I would even advise, say, look, just do what you normally do. Just write every bit of food down, everything you drink for a week, so I can understand what you're doing, and we can slowly start removing or swapping them out for healthier alternatives. Things like sweetener, things like honey, taking the butter out, using butter spray. All these little things make the biggest difference in the grand scale of losing body fat, or just weight in general. Especially these little tips and tricks that we use, like lower calorie tomato sauces, lower calorie syrups, all those sort of things. Like they really do help, specifically for the lifestyle clients. But I think the majority of people that get to that weight, they live a lie. They're not honest with themselves. They will tell you they eat healthy all day, or they have one packet of crisps when their one packet of crisps is the multi-pack 24-pack whilst they're sat home watching TV, you know. And I think,
how many people have you had sign up to you or whatever, and they're like, I eat a low carb diet? No, you don't, blood clot. You are fucking, you're not low carb. You are high carb. Stop lying, bro.
but
they'll
going
go
back to what
like-
Hilly said, oh, sorry, Colin Chuds.
The drinks is a big thing as well, because a lot of them, they'll go, oh, I don't eat all day. I'm like, do you drink coffee? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, right, so how do you take the coffee? And they're like, I have lattes. I'm like, well, there you go. They're like, I have 7 lattes. I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah. Normal Monster cans, the full sugar Monster cans, they're about 4,000 calories.
There is no excuse to have a full fucking sugar monster in this day and age. The sugar-free ones taste fucking better. Like, there is literally no reason for it. No excuse.
It's the only thing I think that should be banned is full sugar drinks. Because they're not fucking needed at all.
For your teeth as well.
Well, just as stupid as it is, I've got no issues with fucking Greggs or whatever else, right? But I just think there is no need for anybody to have a full sugar drink anymore. So I even fucking have them there, do you know what I mean? Here, I'm just flicking through Instagram here. Milos has just posted one of his run-ins to his show. Sorry, this is off topic. But at the bottom of it says GHB in capital letters. Man's been on the jeeps there, kid. Go on, Milos, lad.
Good lad.
Get in, fucking right. I'll have to put that in my next show, eh?
Don't ever criticize Greggs again, bro. We're watching you.
I know you're a big Greggs fan,
I'm a big Greggs fan. My favourite, I used to eat 3 patties every day after school. My favourite. And I used to hide the pizza. Do you remember the long pizzas I used to do back in the days?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to be so fat, bro. I used to buy one, hide it in my sleeve, and I'd eat it at home because I'd be too scared to have it in a bag. I thought people would laugh at me.
Bro, I was
They were
never
the
fat.
best.
I used to use all my dinner money to buy packs of cigarettes and sell them.
Oh, you're the opposite, bro.
I did that. I used to get £1.50. I used to get £1.50 for my dinner money, right, or £2. And a girl in my class at school, her older sister would meet us on a morning, and at the time it was £1.48 for 10 lamb and butter.
Jesus Christ! Back in the day.
Yeah, so I used to get 10 lamb and butter on a morning at 7 o'clock, half 7, and then I used to sell them at school for 50p a pound a tab.
Yeah.
So I'd have like £5 or £7 for my dinner money, and then we were allowed out of school to go to the shop for lunch, right? This is before I got moved to school for being in trouble. So you could walk to the shop and there was a butcher's at the shop, and he would bake fresh sausage rolls and mince pies, right? This is why I was a fat kid, right? It had nothing to do with genetics. There's no fat genes. So I used to sell these 10 tabs on a morning. Didn't even spot myself really, right? So I'd have like £5-7 for my dinner money, and I would buy 2 sausage rolls, steak pie, a Mars bar drink, and a bag of crisps, right? Every day for my lunch. No wonder I was a fat kid.
Do you know what's funny when you think back then? Like, I used to do the same, but mine was £2.10 for a pack of Richmonds. But the little Indian shop up by me, this is how mad it was back then. I used to handwrite a note saying this was from my mum and these were my mum's cigarettes. And I'd give it to her and she'd sell me the fags when I was like 13. And I'd just take them to school and sell them all free for £1.
Yeah.
And then it moved to weed and then cocaine.
Yeah. You just spiraled through it, didn't you? I know that feeling.
Now you're on these £10 disposables.
Yeah. Now we're on
Well done, boys.
Yeah, I'm still doing one of these a day.
You're
doing that.
You're bad, bro. You're bad, man.
That's a lot, that, isn't it?
That's bad, bro.
This is 2-3 days for me.
Huh?
These are lasting me a day. But
2
then
days.
again, right, I got these ones, right, they're the Prime Ice Pop, they're called. And they're just, do you know, like, there's not really that harsh to them. It's just like licking an ice lolly all day.
Yeah.
You need to get the 7,000 Puff Gorilla ones online. They're really good. They are. They last fucking ages too.
I've had them. You've got to charge them up to do with tits.
Yeah,
I need to just...
You are an easy bastard, isn't it? I swear to God. Bodybuilding, 7 meals a day and shit.
I tell you what it is, right? When you're out and your fucking vape dies and you're like, shit.
Bro, I used to carry the big vape. I used to have batteries in my bag, extra batteries in the car. I never run out, bro.
Mate, I keep spares in my car, in my drawer, all the lot, mate.
Yeah.
Serious issues. Next question, lads.
Right, I'm opening them as I go. Right, let's see.
I'm not in a rush tonight. There's no baby in the house. I'm good.
Hey, Chuds, have you had a new tattoo on your head?
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Man, looks like you got some quiff going on there, son. Come
It's
closer, I
because
want
the
to see
camera
it.
quality is bad when we're recording. You can't see it.
Was that
It's
painful?
like yeah.
Oh. No,
You're mad, bro. I don't know how the fuck you do it, but I don't know. I'd be so scared.
Why?
It just must hurt, bro, isn't it?
Nice, right? I mean, look, if you've got any tattoos, you'll know, like, there's way worse shit to have done than, like, head and, like, anything like that here. Like,
I'm never going to get any, bro.
Shit like that's a lot worse. Right. I think that's meant to be for Dan, or maybe for us. Where will have Dan placed if he was fully in?
Well, we don't know we don't know, do we? So
Same place.
Yeah.
You think?
In my opinion.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
who was it? It was Blade. It was Blade, that European guy, Chris Swan, Dan. So that was top 4, wasn't it, right? Or was Dan 5th,
Yeah.
4th?
4th, I think.
4th, yeah.
Look, I would have agreed potentially with that logic, but I saw those stage photos that went around, and I just, realistically, I'm never going to gas anyone. I don't think he was that far off. I genuinely don't. Like, he didn't look bad with his poses. His midsection looked good. I understand what he's saying, that he couldn't feel his posing, and I know how frustrating that is. But I just, from my opinion on the pictures, I just don't think he was that far off, or would have been marginally so much better to take over people.
And I agree.
What do you think Dan at the Southwest would have done at the uni? That's what me and Ryan spoke about just now.
Southwest was where he's on the hitting the side tricep in the picture, right? That one with the sword.
Yes. Exeter.
I don't think in any of his packages he would have placed any better. Personally.
Look, I'm friends with Dan and I'm friends with Chris Swan, yeah?
So, obviously, he would have been marginally leaner at the other show. But so, meaning, if he had turned up to the uni with the Southwest look, he would have probably not been as lean.
Bro, in my honest opinion, Chris Swan, in my opinion, should have been second, yeah? And
Chris
he
was
was
so
very
good.
hard to beat.
Chris was so good.
Hey?
Chris was so good. I was just telling Ryan that because I said to him, like, Riz was like, kept telling me the whole prep, because you'd seen him, right? And I said to him, like, Riz kept telling me, like, Chris is going to look so good. And I kind of thought, Chris looks a little bit underwhelming in his pictures. But fuck me, when I saw him on that stage, he was the most impressive, like, the person that impressed me the most out of everyone in that lineup.
I think what you have to realise, people forget in bodybuilding, people say, he's not thick enough, he's not this. It's all about the total package. It's about the total balance, yeah? It's about the X shape. In my opinion, Chris Swan had probably the most balanced physique on stage, in my honest opinion.
Awesome. He was 240 on stage, wasn't he? 240, 250 on stage. That's a big fucking dude, man.
He was heavier than he was at the Saxons. I chatted to him outside, and he goes, I'm actually like about 10 pounds heavier. Me, Matt, and Chris
he was leaner, he was fuller, he's got that proper white gnarly skin. He's a
sweeping quads.
He's a good looking guy, he looks apart, and in my opinion, he brings up that back a bit more and he'll be very, very good.
Yeah.
We're going to get Dan on soon. Dan can talk about his prep and what he thinks could have went, and he'll explain everything properly, guys. We don't really want to speculate too much as well.
What would you say are important factors to consider when looking for a coach?
Do you get along?
Do you believe in their methods and their ethos from what they put on social media? This is the biggie. We discussed this last week, didn't it? Like, if you don't want to be the guy with trapping mad data and checking in 78 times a week and taking pictures of your poos and that sort of stuff, don't go on the guy that starts masturbating over Google Sheets on his stories. Like, don't pick that guy, but just try and find someone that suits you.
That is the key.
Yeah. I went with him because he loved the Raven Ibiza. I was like, that's my man. That's me. I'm in.
He loved the sesh. I think you have to get along, as in you have to see some sort of similarity. You know, you're both into cars, or you're both into UFC. There's something other than just bodybuilding, I think, in my opinion. It just makes it a little bit nicer. That's just my opinion.
It matters that much? Because I think a lot of the time, a coach is like someone you just chat to. For the most part, most people just chat to their coach like once a week on a check-in. Not their mate.
You see, I I would say every single client that I have, I know them by name. I know what they do. I know what their partner's name is because I do get along with them, and that's my coaching style, and that's just how I am.
You've also got clients, I bet you, that literally check in week on, week out, week in, week out, pictures, weigh-ins. You're like, right, you look good. Like it's literally like just professional, nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But I think.
Sorry, go on, Liz.
I think because I work with, I'm very lucky that a lot of my clients are very long term. Yeah, I think that's a bit of good karma for being with Hilly for 6 years. I think because I've been with them for so long, some clients have been for like 2 years, and you just get to know them over time, and you do talk about stuff. They talk to you, oh, this happened, and you build a friendship, not a friendship, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? You build a relationship with a client.
When I get friendly with some of my clients, they try to start to get involved a little bit more. I find like some of the best preps I've had with people has been when we've just started out, and I'm like, right, I don't give a fuck. I'll hammer the guy in. Yeah. And because you don't give a fuck, but when you start to be like friendly with them, you start to like feel sorry for them, and you're like,
I don't feel sorry for nobody. I don't feel sorry for nobody, bro.
But I agree with Chuds. Like, I think this is my wrongdoing, and I can name names of clients where I mess this up. Where they have the ability to articulate things, I sort of think, oh, this guy sounds clued up. He knows what he's doing. That's actually very untrue the majority of the time. They can just use the words. Does that make sense? And I've shot myself in the foot before with clients where I was like, yeah, maybe he does know what he's talking about. Maybe he's right. And I'm looking at the picture and I don't agree with it. But I lean towards their perspective, which I will not do anymore going forward whatsoever. It's kind of my way or the highway, you know?
Yeah. For me, you just need to look at someone that runs in line with what you like to do, which is what Dex said initially. So why I picked AJ, right? I know that he's very attentive to detail. He likes to do things in a complex way, which is what I like to do. I like to learn. I've seen some people send ideas of his cycles and how he likes to approach things. I like to push certain areas, which I know he does. It runs in line with me. Like, you need to find a coach that when you see them post, when you see them talk about things, when you speak to them, what they do, you think, yeah, that's what I want to do.
That's
so for example, right, there are some people on Instagram or on certain forums or certain areas where you can see that they are big on running cycles like 300 milligram of test and 500 milligram of primo, and then driving the primo up to a gram. They like a safe cycle approach. The thought knocks me sick. Sounds very boring. I wouldn't get any amusement out of it, right? So that would not be someone that I work with. So for example, right, he's a great example. John Jewett, fantastic bodybuilder, very, very clever guy, does loads of great courses in teaching, right? Immense bloke. But I have seen what he does with clients. So for instance, he's just started working with Josh Richmond, or whatever his name is, right? So his first step in this cycle, he's added 60 milligrams of test and 80 milligrams of masteron. See that shit there? I instantly know that's not a coach for me there, right? That just doesn't appeal to me. And that's not me saying that I want to go and work with a coach that's going to take me from 150 mega test to a fucking 1500 mega test and everything else. But that shit doesn't appeal to me. Now then I can look at something like Milos. I know that Milos likes to use a lot of insulin and a lot of volume. Now I'm not sure whether I'd be a fan of doing all of that insulin, and I know I wouldn't feel crappy of it. But I like the idea of trying it, so that appeals to me more. There is a guy that me and Riz follow called Blue.
Blue's sick.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So now he's worked with Haney Rambod, right? He gets mad results. I know that he's a fan of using certain drugs in certain ways. I know he's a fan of doing extreme carb loads. I know he's a fan of doing certain types of training. That shit appeals to me, right? So I followed some of his clients. He was on my list with AJ because I've listened to some of his podcasts, followed some of his stuff, I've followed some of his clients. I watch what he does and I'm like, that sounds really interesting, that. Whereas I watch some of John Jewett's stuff and I'm like, that sounds boring as hell. Now, this doesn't mean that one gets better results than the other. It doesn't mean that one is boring than the other. But for me, I know what I like the sound of. It's like Sam Mead when Sam Mead came to me. Sam Mead was like, Hilly, I know that you used to do a lot of cycles for Jordan. You both would come up with this and that. I'm hiring you because I know you have the knowledge in the drugs and the food to be excessive. That's what I'm about. I want you to do that with me. Me and Sam have done crazy things with his physique because he chose to work with me because he wants my knowledge. He likes the way I work. I have some clients that sign up because they're like, Hilly, I don't like to wait for a response. I like to do this. I've got bad digestive problems. I see the fact that you get back to your clients by lunchtime every day. I've worked with a coach who I didn't hear from for 2 days. So I know that you're the guy for me. Do you know what I mean? So what you can gather from this is don't just speak to the coach, because the coach a lot of the times will tell you what you want to hear, right, to get your business, unfortunately. 3 things that I recommend. Watch their content. Does their content amuse you or does it bore you? Because I watch some clients that coaches that follow me on Instagram and I listen to their reels and I'm like, you were boring, motherfucker, man. So that's obviously someone I wouldn't want to work with, yeah? Then I would recommend, yes, speaking to the coach, but also speaking to their clients, past and present. Any client that gets in touch with me, I'm like, listen, don't take my word for anything. Just speak to one of my clients or my past clients.
Bro, they all come and talk to me.
Yeah. Because I am confident that no one, whether it is a current client or a past client, will ever give me a bad report.
When people messaged me about Hilly, they were like, is he good? I was like, no, I've just worked with someone shit for 6 years. Yeah, just 6 years. Yeah, he must be shit then. Fucking idiots.
But it's like you're getting an opinion from someone that will also be like, listen, this is the way it works. This might be for you or not. But it is important that you're working with someone that runs in line with what you want to do. Like I said, if I went and signed up with John Jewett and he sent me, and I said, right, I'm taking 150 mega test, and he sent me an email back saying, right, we're going to take your test to 225 and we're going to add in 100 milligram Astro, I'd be like,
fuck that.
Yeah. PayPal refund, quickly get the money back.
And
like,
that's
is that daily? It'd be like, is that daily? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, that's not because I want to do loads of drugs. If he came back and he was like, I want you to do 20 milligram of Primo, 20 milligram of Test Prop, 20 milligram of this and 10 milligram of this every day. Well, microdose in tiny amounts because I'm good at it. Because I've done this myself and I find tiny microdosing, I'd be like, whoa, okay, I'll try this. I need that amusement from different aspects, whereas some people don't. So, and that's the key thing. It's not about the drugs. It's not about the food. It's not about this. It's about what is going to amuse you and get you excited so that you follow the fucking plan and work hard. That is the key.
Yeah. Blue Taylor, is a fucking G, bruv.
Yeah. And if you use those 2 as an example, like Hilly said, and this isn't no slating on John Jewett, he's brilliant, but just look at their fucking results. Blue Taylor gets people big. John Jewett doesn't. Like, who is he prepped?
Yeah.
Who is he prepping? Like that, and that is one of the. It's such a weird industry to be involved in, isn't it, bodybuilding? Because in every other industry, results tell all. Football, rugby, car sales, insurance, finance, results tell all. But bodybuilding, it doesn't fucking matter. You could just talk a load of shit on a reel and then get 800 clients.
I've had people say to me before, oh, should I work with Hilly? I'm going to get, listen, if you're going to work with Hilly, remember, you have to check in at X amount of time. You are going to get, and I'm like, you know what? You don't want to work with him because you're just not going to get along. There's no point. A lot of people, I think they want to work with someone. I'm going to sound a bit of a dick now, but they're one of the coaches who's really big on social media and they've got hundreds of clients and then you just become a number in their book. The initial meeting and calling is all good. And after that, you die off.
And they're just doing their fucking Instagram things and that's it. You're like part of the team. And it's like, no, he doesn't give a fuck about you.
I was saying to a client the other day, I goes, bro, if you want to hire somebody else who's a higher coach, you are a beginner. Do you think, just example, I'm not saying this is Joe Jeff, but Joe Jeffrey's got time for you, bro, as a beginner. You think he's got time for you? Because he cares about his big guys. Work with a coach who's finding his way. They will make time for you. Don't go straight to the top. It's linear. It's linear.
And again, I'll use myself for an example. When I was writing a list of who I wanted to work with, AJ's big on digestion. I'm big on digestion. AJ because AJ was training with Jay Cutler when he was winning his Olympics. So I'd like to know what the fucker was doing because he's learned stuff from AJ. AJ has worked with 2 of the 3 of the coaches that I would class are better than him. So my opinion was, who can I work with to gather the most information from? He is a very religious man. He's a very family man. You know, I see the way he portrays himself. I see the way he speaks about people. I see the way he treats his clients. Everything he does runs in line. You know, he's up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He's in his ice bath. He's regimented. Everything is on time. He's a very similar person to me. So I knew that would work for me. It would be no good me hiring someone that's like, well, I get up at 10 o'clock and then I do this and I like, that shit ain't going to fly with me. I'm going to get really annoyed because I get annoyed at my accountant because if I email my accountant and he doesn't go back to me within 24 hours, I'm like, listen, you lazy motherfucker. I've got more clients than you and I get back to them in 24 hours. Why can't you get back to me? So that isn't going to work with me. Do you know what I mean? If my brain works in a certain way, I need to work with people that work the way I do. Not everybody needs that.
Did Josh Bridgman leave Cal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
He's gone to John Jewett now, so.
Yeah, he just wanted to change.
Maybe Carl didn't have the time for him. You've got so many other guys. Just a thought.
That's how it sounded from that video that he put up. That's how it sounded. Yeah.
Bro, look, whether any coaches admit this or not, yeah, there will always be a hierarchy in their clients. They've got clients going for pro cards. They want that client to do well. That client gets more time. Whether that happens on purpose or not, it happens.
Yep.
Period. It's just a
not
thing, bro.
kind of maxed out because he earned his pro card, but let's be honest, he's not doing better than you know. He's not really going to make a mark. Whereas he's got like tons of guys that he can probably turn pro, and you know, and that's kind of like.
Josh will do better at Team Classic. For sure.
I think so. I think
Josh has got the potential to kill Classic, to be honest, actually. Because I think he's got 10 kilo in the weight class. He's got a beautiful structure. He's got, you know, their quads come up, their hands come up. I think the kid's built for Classic.
Yeah, he's too big for men's physique, in my opinion.
Well, I just think his potential's so much more.
He hasn't got the weight,
especially with the weight cap.
man. He's got a white ginger dude's waist. Like, that's the fact of it. Like, he needs to do Classic. He needs that 10 kilos on his back and hams and glutes. And I truly think he'll do well in Classic for sure.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Shall we move on? We've got like 40 questions.
Rapid fire.
Yeah, right. Thoughts on calisthenics?
Gay.
Yo, shut your mouth, bro.
Sorry, bro.
Well, it depends. If you're trying to be a bodybuilder and you're doing that, then you're not going to get far.
I still think, calisthenics is king, bro, because once you learn to master your body weight, then you go into the gym after that, you're an absolute boss man, bro. You connect with everything so well.
Right? So it's good to start, but very quickly, like, you know, it kind of, because it's just body weight, you can't really progress. So,
bro, I could only do one pull-up at PE when I was fat, and I got laughed at, So when I left school and I met my mate who was doing calisthenics for like Team England or whatever, he's in English Frank's video as well. He's a big motherfucker. He goes, bro, I teach you how to do pull-ups. Did one. I used to do them every day. I got to 10, got to 20, did 30 in a row, wide grip, I remember saying to Hilly, I go, listen, I'll beat anybody at pull-ups. But that's why I think my connects are good with my back. Because that's what I started off with.
Yeah, I'm just speaking from a bodybuilding perspective. Like, your weight's going to increase and you're just not going to be very good at calisthenics. Unless you are a true freak. Like, if you're pushing for true tissue.
Oh, yeah. Proper talent,
Yeah, exactly. Once you get to the point, if you are strong enough to maintain your body weight in those mad positions, you are not heavy enough to be a bodybuilder. And that is a be-all and end-all.
I can still do the plank, bro, in the air. You know that.
Even with like dips and shit,
I could do that.
Once you get past like 50 in a set, like at that point, what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, bro, even now when I go gym with Barmer, we do free weight dips. I can do about 100, bro. I have to always put weight on. I'm not that heavy, and I can just lift my weight up loads.
Yeah.
Your go-to off-season cycle, including GH and Slim protocol.
I swear we've done this about 100 times.
Yeah, I think we have.
Yeah, skip that.
Skip that.
You want to skip that, yeah?
Another equipoise question, for fuck's sake, what?
Yeah.
Which exercise-based optimal exercise, which science-based optimal exercise is currently doing your head in?
Oh, like overly techie stuff?
Yeah, like optimal exercise that people are doing.
I'm going to say it again. The fucking single arm lat pull down. Like, just fucking stop it, man. Like, pull through your lat. It's a fucking row. Like, it breaks me. And I feel sorry for those young kids, man, because, like, I can see what they do. They watch these people with really well-developed lats and terries, and you can see they pull in and they stop very well. But these young lads that are doing it do not have the muscular development to connect well with that muscle. It's not big enough. And I'm sorry to sound like one of those old dudes in the gym, but just focus on doing a barbell row or a pull down or even a chest supported row first. Once you have the muscular development there, you will find it very easy to connect with your lat whilst doing more of a compound move, and you will have far bigger lats. Do a fucking pull up. Pull-ups are far better for you than a single arm
do
lat
some
pull down.
calisthenic, bro, you fucking
Yeah, it's
dickheads.
not. Sorry, guys. There's a
I
rant.
think that's it, innit? That's probably the worst exercise that people do. Like,
Bro, everyone's forgot about wide grip pull down these days, or a neutral grip. Everyone's forgot, bro. That's a sick back builder, bro.
Do you know the other one that really breaks me is the banded Smith chest press. Like you know the one where they band it with a daisy chain and stuff,
reverse band, yeah.
Take the load off.
And there's just like there's no counter argument from the fact of like it's as simple as this. Would you have a bigger chest if you could do that weight without the band? Yes. Cool.
Yes.
Do it without the fucking band.
Bro, how much stuff I already got in my gym bag? You want me to take a fucking daisy chain and 25 bands?
No, man.
Somebody play rob it, bro. That's a fucking
yeah,
joke.
It's just so it looks good on
argument is
Instagram, isn't it? You get a couple more plates in the machine.
Yeah.
The argument
Lads,
is
imagine going to the gym as...
the argument is to take load off the shoulders, right? But then just stop where the shoulder starts to come into. So just find out where that range of motion is and stop there, right?
Bro, even with the band on, it's still going to go to your shoulder, your body. You can't control which body part kicks in. They all kick in at some point. Nothing is a true isolation.
But obviously, when your chest is at peak stretch, okay, that's when the band's kicking in. That's what doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you're taking the load off where the load should be on the peak stretch.
The bottom part of the movement is always where the most growth happens, to what I know, because you're hitting the maximum depth. Same as hack, yeah. I don't do it with the band no more, but only people should do that if you're like Hilly and you've got bad knees.
Back.
Yeah, but the bottom part of the rep is the hardest part of the fucking rep. Don't fucking get it, bro. It's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I think that's not really. I can't really think of any new exercises that people do. I don't know. I haven't really watched Kuba's Instagram recently. He always comes up with some stuff. Yeah, I can't really think. But yeah, that pull down.
There isn't much more, bro. It's the lat pull down. It's been a year of the pull down, bro.
It is.
And the RDL.
Yeah, the what's it called? The snatch grip deadlift, isn't it? That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's see. A lot of them are. Do you thoughts on the GHR? What's that? Glute ham raised.
I thought they were talking about the GHRP peptide thing, but yeah, maybe
You
it's a
don't know what
glute
GHR is. What's GHR?
Yeah, it'll be glute ham raise. Do you know, you get the glute ham raise machines. I'm a big fan of them, actually.
What is that?
Do you know where your knees are on the pad and you come here and you come down and then you come back up? So John Meadows,
with your body weight.
Yeah, before they became popular, John Meadows made them popular. Do you know on a seated pull down, right? You would go in backwards on the seat with your heels underneath and use a broomstick, and you would lean forward in the broomstick and then come back up using the glute hams. Fantastic exercise. When John Meadows made them popular, everybody was doing them, and then all of the companies started re-releasing the glute ham raise machines. They're a big bit of kit in the gym, and you've almost got to climb
got
up
one.
them. Yeah, and then your heels go underneath, your knees on a pad, and you come forward and then come back. Fantastic for glute hams.
It hurts my confidence.
Very, very hard exercise to
They
do.
light your hamstrings up, though. They light your hamstrings up, yeah, for sure.
Next question.
Yeah, there's what cycle would you run if you're trying to get as big as possible, as quickly as possible?
Everything.
All of it.
I would be doing If I was just trying to literally get as big as possible, right, it would be test equipoise and decker.
I think I agree.
What, as in body weight?
Yeah.
Just trying to just gaining sheer body weight?
No, just if I was just trying to put on a lot of muscle and I wasn't overly concerned about composition and I didn't have loads of data with a client, if someone just signed up and was like, listen, I just want to run a mass-focused cycle, I would start them at, say, 200 or 300 test equipoise decker, and then I would just period them up. That would, for me, like, obviously, if you've got more experience and you know how your body feels and you don't get on with decker and you don't, but in terms of building all-out muscle for most people, testing decker is the one. And I think you've got loads of science to back that up. You've got loads of anecdotal information, and then the equipoise is going to control the estrogen. So without being overcomplicated of, well, do you feel better on this drug or do you feel better on that? I just feel that for all-out mass, you've got the equipoise increasing red blood cell count, more oxygen, more nutrients, controlling EQ, controlling estrogen. You've got testing decker doing its thing. I think if someone just wants a bread and butter, put weight on, or to be honest, just take a shitload test. But I just think as a real base, without getting overcomplicated, I would be swinging at test decker.
I chuck some D-bol in as well for the extra £5 of water. Like that's what I get on that route.
And some Lantus.
I mean, we've done this about overcomplicating shit and what drugs you put in. There's loads of stuff, but if you've got someone that's like, just give me 3 base fucking drugs, those would be the base drugs. And what's funny is I was listening to a podcast the other day with Matt Jansen, who you could argue was again now building up to one of the best coaches in the world. He was like, my favourite off-season mixture of drugs is test, decker, and equipoise. AJ at one point had me test, MPP, equipoise. I know Chris Aceto is a fan of the drugs. I've seen that some. And again, I always come back to, and you are all a fan of the same shit, is what on paper looks good, and then what are the guys at the very top doing? Exactly. You've got Matt Jansen, who has created some of the biggest kids on the current market. You have got AJ Sims, who was Jay Cutler's training partner and very friendly with him, saying the same shit. Like, if Jordan is a huge fan of Decker, a huge fan of fucking equipoise. If you've got either some of the biggest morphos walking around on the planet or the coaches that fucking coach the biggest guys on the planet, if they're all saying the same shit,
just listen.
And then the science backs the same shit up.
I think what a lot of people
you can take your 300 milligram of test and you grab a primo and you can stick it up your fucking ass for me, to be honest.
I think what a lot of people are missing, like, the drugs, but like your diet is important, is the key.
Of course.
Because like, and also your composition when you start. So if you're starting quite fat, well, you're just going to get fatter pretty much. So let's say, let's create a scenario. Let's say that the guy wants to get as big as possible, but he's also starting quite fat. What do you do at that point?
Lose fat, bruv, and learn to control his mouth.
He needs to get as lean as possible.
Kind of fat. Let's say he needs to get as
lean as possible. He needs to get as lean as possible before he can get as big as possible. There you go. Dead basic.
I think that's kind of
next question. I hate these broad questions, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think you don't know if there's like a word limit or how big you can ask. Like, you know.
Oh. What's the next question? Has Deck got a hairline? What did you say?
No.
Not now he's had a baby in his sleep clothes.
Yeah,
I tell you what I've noticed. Hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Since I did that prep ride, I've got a grey patch of hair. You look.
Hey.
Yeah,
that doesn't look like that.
That's because you've got too much wisdom now, bro. That's what it is. There's too much wisdom.
I know.
Do what Chudley's done.
What's Chudley done?
Just get everything tattooed. You won't see no grey hair, bruv.
My barber had a beard transplant. Have you heard of a beard transplant?
Yeah, my mate's had it done.
That's got to be the most whitest thing I've ever heard of in my life, bruv.
Mate, no, Indians get it, man. Indians are the most common people to get it because it's like their religion. They want to they got mad beards because they look posh and that.
It's epic as well, this beard he's got. Epic.
The amount of like Indian kids that message me like, bro, I'm trying to grow a beard. How do you do it? Or like cycle for beard growth. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've had that.
Yeah, pussy. I've never met a Pakistani guy with no beard, bro. They shit genetics, bro. You're probably vegetarian, vegan.
You know what's mad though? Like my mate's got a beard transplant, and because it's transplanted from the hair, it doesn't look like beard hair, if that makes sense. It's like a different like style of hair. But when it's all trimmed down, it does look sick.
See, my barber, his looks like mega. It's all dark, it's all thick. When he told me, I couldn't believe it, mate. He's literally got the perfect beard.
Is his hair like mine on his head? So it's like that on his face?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't pay that much attention. I was just shocked. I'd never heard of a beard transplant.
But it's definitely more common in the Asian community, I'm telling you that now. Especially they got patches and shit.
Whoever's there checking his out.
Mine ain't got
what's that thing called? Minoxidil.
Regain.
Yeah.
I use it on my hairline. Look, it's gone a little bit better.
Yeah, as well. You're right. You know, it's some thick do that now.
Where's his growing again?
I'm growing. Look,
it'll be thinning out with all that mascara you're taking, kid. That's for sure.
It's not. You know, I think my dad's got hair. My granddad had hair. My brother's got hair.
No,
maybe your masteron's fake.
Granddad had hair as well.
Maybe your master's fake.
Listen, if you, I will commit some. I'll commit murder, bro. This mastron can't be fake, bro. The mastron can't be fake, bro. I'm too paranoid. It's definitely real, bro.
Well, you never know.
Any more questions before we go to bed?
Yeah, how to handle post show?
Such a complicated question.
This is Illy's favourite.
Oh,
fucking suffer.
Well, yeah, you've got. Do you know what it is, right? I think everybody knows that the leaner you can stay post show, the better. But it is a psychological nightmare. And I would always say to people, you need to focus on getting your food up as quickly as possible while staying in as best shape as possible, but you need to get rid of the food focus. However, this time, AJ doesn't give a fuck about your food focus. He doesn't care how you feel. His whole goal is, as you've seen from my pictures, lads, is on handling the rebound, making sure that you don't gain any body fat or very little, and you stay lean. And I tell you what, the last 4 weeks have been pretty fucking hard. He's told me to have one off-plan meal. I've had 3, but 2 have been sushi. And I've factored them in. Yeah. But I tell you what, the position I am in now, as anybody that follows me on Instagram will have just seen, is fucking nuts. Now, it has not been fun. I think it's been a little bit easier for me because now we've got a baby or a little girl. There's less want to do sociable things. There's less stuff. I'm a little bit older. I've done this. I'm a little bit more focused. But it has been not fun being hungry. My rest day diet has literally been the same up until today. So, for example, my rest day diet has been 50 grams of oats and 400 grams of egg whites, 100 grams of cooked rice, 9 ounces of fish, 100 grams of cooked rice, 9 ounces of cooked beef, 9 ounces of fish, 9 ounces of fish, and 9 ounces of fish. They're the same as it was into the show for the last 4 weeks post-show. Yeah. Now, that anybody that's done a show, that is a hard thing to follow. There has been no scheduled off-plan meals. There has been no mention of any off-plan meals. My cardio has still been 7 days a week. My food has been low. Everything has been on point, and it has been a very, very hard period. But every time I have done check-in pictures, it has been worth it. So for me now, I would potentially favour trying to keep a client leaner. But again, this comes down to the client. Yeah. What level you were at, what you were trying to do. I discussed with AJ that I want this rebound period to allow us to move to a freaky growth period. And I specifically said to him, listen, I am happy to stay on prep. I am happy to suffer. I am happy to put the work in. I am mentally strong enough to do that. Whereas most of my clients at all levels would not be interested in doing so. Most people would not be interested in doing so, and it is not healthy to do so. So I think what I'm trying to get at here, I think, is it is not so much about what is the best way to handle a rebound, period. It is about what is the best way to handle the rebound for the client. So the counter argument to what I have done is my client Kenta over in Japan is now 6 or 7 weeks post-show. He is still lean as hell. He is up 17 pound. He has a free calorie meal every rest day that we've built up to 1,300 calories, where he can eat what he wants for 1,300 calories. And he does that 2 or 3 days of the week. He's still super lean. He still looks great. He's still about to blast off. So that is what suited him. It was his first post show. Trying to ask him to do what I'm doing would have made him miserable, made him unhappy, would have probably made him binge. It would have not been good for him. So I think the point I'm trying to get across is you have to look at yourself as a person, what your short-term plan is. I'm overcomplicating a bit maybe, but what your goal is and what you are trying to achieve, and then design how you approach that post-show period suitable for you.
I think the best way to learn about post-show is, do you know your first prep that everyone fucks up your rebound, yeah? Do that, yeah? Once. And when you get that dirty heartburn and your stomach feels like it's going to blow up and you got the shits, you feel dirty, greasy, you stink, you won't do it again after that, bro. Trust me.
Fact. 100% fact.
Yeah.
But you have to allow them to make that mistake.
Yeah, like I'll give you a walking example. My first show, like, the coach was a nightmare. The prep was awful. It was badly managed. There was no post-show guidance. There was no rebound. There was no control. He didn't give me any high carb days. He gave me no off plan. Not that you need an off plan meal, but there was no. I ate the same 6 meals, day in, day out, for 18 weeks. He just increased my fat burners. He increased my cardio. I could tell you exactly what meals I ate right now, and it was 12 years ago, because it was the same 6 fucking meals. And hand on my heart, I didn't cheat on that diet once on Aralina's life, right? I ate those same 6 meals, fucking day in, day out. We just titrated T3 up from 25 micrograms to 75 or 100. We titrated Clen up from 40 to 160. We titrated fucking cardio up, right? And post-show, I had a list of foods I wanted to eat. I went and got stoned so I could get some of the food in because I was that full. I didn't need to use a Dizard or a diuretic for the show, but after 2 days of eating, I was up that much weight. I was waking up with nosebleeds. I had to use a diuretic to pull the weight off. I gained that much weight. So the learning curve there is that because the prep was handled so badly and the post-show period was handled so badly, the rebound was bad. So I think making sure that your prep is managed correctly, there shouldn't be that much. I mean, none of my clients end up really binging that bad. There's no post-show fucking food cravings because we have high days. I am well aware of someone's mindset and how we handle the prep and what foods there is. And I say to clients, right, what social events have you got coming up? Post-show, I want you to have this. Then I want you to be on. I think what's important is, for anybody, if you're a coach or if you're the client, is if your coach says to you, listen, on your rest days, you can have a free meal within these limits. If you know you're going to get something, you are more than happy to be good the rest of the time. Whereas if there is no guidance, you either go all one way of binging initially or you binge later on.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just managing the whole process.
What do you both think, Chuds?
Yeah, just what Hilly said, basically, just make sure, and I kind of, for myself as well, I know that myself, I wouldn't want to do what Hilly has just done. I would want that little bit more freedom, but then you can incorporate that within the plan, and then that way, so learn what the client mentally is like, and then manage it that way, rather than be like, no, you've got to stick to that plan, and then when they fall off because they don't want to stick to it because they've dieted for so long, and then you end up actually going backwards. It's like, work with the client, and that would be me as well. I'm happy to like go through the low days, but also I want some time when I've got that freedom and a little bit of flexibility.
Big Smoke?
I think for me, very similar. I mean, I would never do what AJ's done with Hilly, not a chance to anyone. And it's not, unless they are like the elite level, someone's doing back-to-back shows potentially and pushing for an IFBB Pro card, then maybe. But for anybody else who has family relationships outside of bodybuilding, I wouldn't want anyone to go through that. I wouldn't do it. And if Hilly tries to do that to me, I will roundhouse him. But the other side of that, and I think it's something that's not often spoken about, is just like Hilly said, mapping out the off-plan meal, but it's almost just getting food as high as possible, good whole food as fast as possible. And I think if you can almost get them full to the brim with clean foods, I think it negates the need to binge, because the biggest thing everyone wants when they post show is to get back in the gym and get a decent pump and look sick. They think the cheat meal is normally the only option. It's not. If you can hammer them with good, clean food very, very quickly and reverse that out, obviously periodically, I think you negate the chance of binging very quickly.
You rather go up 7 pounds controlled than 17 pounds uncontrolled, isn't it?
Exactly.
Or even you'd rather go up 15 pounds controlled than a pure shitty weight dog shit food. Yeah.
And you'll feel like shit as well. You've got to bear that in mind.
Oh yeah, without doubt. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people need to realise post-show, it doesn't matter how you do it, I've done it every way, you will still look in the mirror and you're going to be like, I'm not stage ready. But you have to accept that's gone. You only peaked for that.
Oh, like look at it.
Forget about it.
Look at how I know when I analyse my pictures this morning, right? I know I'm in a fucking unbelievable spot 4 weeks post-show, right? But I still then compared the pictures to last week and the week before, and then I'm zooming in and I'm like, well, this week was £4 up. And I'm like, well, of course it was £4 up. You added another 250 mg a test. You pulled out that drug. You pulled out this. You upped your food. You're up £4. But I was still zooming in like, I've lost a bit of that condition. And then I took that post-workout video because I knew how freaky full I would look. And I'd had 200 grams of carbs and 4 litres of water. But then afterwards I was like, well, look how watery you look though. Like, you have to... I think that's like, and the point is like, me at my level...
It's like, be prepared that from here on, you're not going to look as lean. And
you're not going to look like that. And that's what I mean, like, for me at my level, who's done this so much, who knows what's going on, there was still that part of me that was like, whoa, hang on.
I want to hold on to it, yeah.
Yeah, like, look how you were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, like 1 week ago, and I'm like, but I'm happy my food's up, and I'm happy I'm £4 up, but then there was the part of me that's zooming in on my abs that's like, you've lost that bit of detail there, and you've lost, and it's, and what I'm trying to get across to everybody is, it doesn't matter what level you're at or who you're at. I know my goal now is to get as big as fucking possible.
Yeah.
And that is the plan. And it is to try and stay as tight as I can. But the goal is not to stay as tight as I can. The goal is to add as much muscle as I can while staying as tight. And that's what you've got to get your head round, is what is your goal? If I had a client that said to me, listen, I've now got photo shoots to do. I'm going on social holidays. The goal is not to add muscle. The goal is to stay tight. Then that's different.
Yeah.
But my goal for me is I want to add a shit ton of muscle. So I need to stay as tight as possible so I can keep adding muscle for as long as possible.
Yeah.
But not while restricting growth. If I said to me, if I message AJ now going, whoa, AJ, we've gained £4, that's too much in a week. I've lost some data in my abs, and we pull back. That makes no sense.
You just lost 2 weeks of growing time.
Of course you have, yeah.
And the years are short, man.
I've already stayed super lean for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and I've complained that I'm hungry, and I've complained I didn't feel good in the gym. Now this last week, I have felt good in the gym. I've seen the scale move where I want it to be. And even though I'm now seeing what I've been complaining I haven't done, and where I should be happy, there's now a little complaint in the back of my head that's like, well, I'm not as fucking lean. And all I want everybody that's watched this to see is, whether you're as experienced and as knowledgeable as I am, or Decades, or Davies, or Riz is, we all have these same battles.
Yeah.
We all struggle with getting a bit softer. We all struggle with getting a bit fatter. Whether you're male, whether you're female, whether you're a pro, it doesn't matter. Like Hader said, everybody has the same, and this is something that I try and get across to all my clients. We all have the same issues post first show, post fifth show, post 10th show. No one likes to be shredded inside out with the jawline, feeling nice and tight, everything looking great. No one likes to see that slip. Right? No one does.
A little tip for people, what I've done my whole life, yeah, I always train with a jumper on. I don't give a fuck how hot it is. I don't care. If it means just wearing a jumper with no t-shirt, I will, yeah. What you don't see is not going to bother you. That's the way I see it. Don't just stop it. Stop looking at yourself and it won't fucking bother you. That's the honest truth. People overanalyze, looking all the time. Oh, fucking looking all the time. Stick to checking pictures and don't look at it again. That's what I do year round. Year round. That way it ain't gonna piss you off. And if you're married and you got a missus, you ain't got to be lean all year round, bro. You sorted, man. Do you know what I mean?
Even though I know I look absolute nuts in the gym now, right? Absolutely nuts, because I'm at that funky stage where I'm getting all this volumization back that you can see in that video, but I'm still vascular. I'm not training in a vest. I'm still training in an oversized fucking t-shirt and a fucking jumper or whatnot. Like, yes, I'm doing those pictures when there's no one else about. And yes, I like the way I look, but I'm not looking at myself all the time. That'll be it now. Bro, what was I saying to you lads the last 2 days? I can't wait to take those pictures on Tuesday morning. And I can't wait to do a video in the gym. But I haven't gone and taken any other pictures, and I haven't looked at myself any other time, and I haven't, because I don't want to play those head games. I don't want to ask for those problems.
I remember my whole entire prep 2019, I did the whole prep in a jumper, yeah. And then one day I was like, you know what? I was like 2 weeks out, I took my top off. They're like, yo, you're shredded. I goes, yeah, bro, because I'm not shredded to show you lot. I'm doing it for myself, bro. As long as I'm happy, don't take my top off and I'll have a little look. But I don't know, no need to. Some people, bro, look at, they're posting pictures every day of the same physique. It's boring, man.
The more you look at yourself, something I used to say to clients was, if you want to have a look at yourself, what you need to do is pick a day, say it's arm day or back day, once a week or once every 2 weeks, train in a vest. Right? The rest of the time, cover up. Because if you're looking at yourself in a vest every day, you're never going to see any changes. Whereas if once a week you train in a vest, every week when you do it, you will see the change. It will bring motivation about. You'll be like, whoa, I didn't look like this when I was doing this exercise a week ago. If you're in a vest every fucking day posing, and oh my God, the amount of fucking people I see. I was going to make a post the other day saying, has there become this new thing where people think there should be more time under tension in the mirror posing than time under tension?
Literally.
Because the amount of time I see people pose, I'm like, if you spent that much time underweight, you'd be fucking massive, kid. But all they do is pose and it's nuts. But if you spend that much time looking at yourself, you're never going to see no fucking changes. Never. You're going to be sick as, because every day you're just looking at yourself all the fucking time. Whereas if just once a week you go in a vest, you'll be like, it'll provide psychological motivation, because you'll be like, whoa, that vein wasn't there. Whoa, I didn't see that. Whereas if every day you're like, well, I look the same as I did yesterday. You're just going to beat yourself in the ground.
Do you know, because I'm proper hairy, lads, I look at myself once every month when I de-hair. I'm like, yo, I can see some difference. I'm a little bit fatter. I should not have shaved. Do you know what I mean? when you're fat, bro, and you shave, you look even worse, bro. If I don't fucking leave
I know. When you're a bit soft, you're a bit hairy, it hides it. You shave, you're like, fuck, I'm fat, I'm full.
If I'm a bit hairy when off season, it makes my abs look better. So.